see games that just automatically have all of these backported files in the actual release. Now, the next game that we saw that is now working on those lower firmwares is Black Myth Wukong. There is a backport here to 7.xx, and then we have Silent Hill 2, which has some backport files here for 7.xx again. Now, that certainly doesn't mean that 7.x machines are the only ones that's going to be getting some love, as we saw a teaser here on the 20th of January from Best Pig that said, what is Echo Stretch doing on his 4.03 console? And then there is this little video that pops up where it says, welcome to Backport 0.1, and this is K-Stuff Lite, which isn't released at the moment, and they're their only 4.03 machine. And one thing that was noted is that this was crashing. So it isn't working at the moment, or at least at the time of this recording. There you go. You can see it slowing up. And again, it crashes right after this. And then we saw another update where it was firmware 6.00. And they do state here that it requires patching the game, but to see you soon for the final countdown. And it looks like in this video there was a hint here because it says debug patch successful, waiting for the game to exit. And there you go. You've got Minecraft running, and looks like they're going to use the switcher and go over to Silent Hill 2. Directory detected game, and then patch successful, waiting for the game to exit. So there may be really great things coming to those on 4.03 and possibly lower systems. Now, there is a couple of projects that I've seen that is going to definitely help folks in creating their own images with this. One of these comes over here from Natski. And if we scroll down a little bit, you'll see this project here, and it says it is called Auto-Backport. It says that this is a project to make backport for the PS5 using Backport easy and fast. And it says that it should automatically patch the libc.prx when you choose SDK 6. Now, this is a great little project because it is very easy to kind of get up and running with it. And you'll note right here, there isn't any sort of releases because this is just a Python file. And you can run this Python file, and it even takes in a couple of different parameters. But this will just allow you to make those backups a whole lot easier. Now, it does have a few questions that they pointed out in the FAQ, one of those being, what is this? And that this is a project that allows you to downgrade, fake sign, and add fake libs to your PS5 games, and why to use this, and that this project works using directories. Put an input directory with encrypted game files and an output directory, and then everything else is done automatically. And then in the instructions here, again, this does require Python. You can see that there is one-line commands that you can run. And you'll see down here, you're calling Python and then that main.py, the input directory, and then where do you want it to output to. And then the SDK in this example is paired to 7.xx machines and then batch. And then if you want to use the mode feature here, which this mode is set to full, and if we look back up here, it says you can choose between 3 modes: downgrade, decrypt, or full. So if you don't have the decrypted files of your games, you can choose the full option. Otherwise, choose downgrade, the default one. So anyways, a really neat little tool. I would definitely recommend you keep your eyes on this, as we will see more progress as the days and weeks go by. Now, there is another project that adds a graphical user interface to a very similar tool, and this one is brand new. This repo actually just started, I think, a few hours ago, and this is the PS5 Backport Kitchen. And if we take a look at this and look in the README, it says, simplify your PS5 Homebrew workflow with PS5 Backport Kitchen, a practical backporting utility that bridges the gap between modern game binaries and lower firmware versions. And it says that this tool builds upon existing PS5 backporting concepts and scripts already used in the community, but using a GUI. So there are a few features in here, and I think the one-click solution setup is the most interesting one. Now this is for Windows 10 or Windows 11, and internet is required. So how to use: you launch the tool, you select the game, and it automatically detects the game icon, metadata, and then click Start Cooking, and then the backup is created, and you can transfer that over to your PlayStation 5 and launch it. Now, I did see a video that was released of this, and let's just go ahead and switch over to that. So here is the GUI that I was just talking about, and we'll go ahead and let this video play here, and you can see they're just pointing out that they have a folder here which has a game inside of it, and they go ahead and they browse to that folder, and then they select it, and it automatically pulls the metadata, and it says Start Cooking, and they hit yes here, and it looks like once you get this a little bit of time that it just does absolutely everything for you. And you can see it is attempting the decryption process, and now it is unpacking else, and now a fake sign on the eboot.bin, and patching process completed. Okay, so now at this point, you should be ready to go. Now, one of the things that I found that's kind of cool about a lot of these games running on lower firmwares is that there was someone that I believed it was on 7.61 that had played the Astrobot game, and well, there is a cheat file now which does things like gives you infinite jumps. So like right here, for example, you normally would not be able to infinitely jump way up like this right here. You'd have to go around, but yeah, with these cheats, you can do that anyways. These are just really cool things that starts happening when there's innovation like what we've been getting here lately. Next up, if you're wondering about the status on Vue, well, Dr. Yanyan has released a post over in Discord, and he shared this message over on X. So it says that, it looks like we won't be able to get Vue to work without a network connection. This means that Vue will always need any form of network connection to fully launch and run the exploit. It doesn't need internet specifically, just a network connection. So after you run the jailbreak, you can disconnect from the network till the next time you need to jailbreak. So anyone with an active internet connection over Wi-Fi or Ethernet with their own router doesn't have to worry about it. Everyone just needs some kind of network connection. Now, there's a couple of different ways in here, and the ones that I thought that was pretty interesting was some of us starting to repurpose some of these lockbox Pico devices that we bought in the past, and especially these ESP32 or ESP8266 devices that have kind of been sitting in our closets for a while since the methods are no longer applicable to today. And they also state here that reusing PP-Pawn devices will be nice too, because right now those are just sitting in drawers. Next up, let's talk about Shadow Mount, as Void Whisper has had a pre-beta that you could gain access to be able to see some of the new features that has been coming out. Now, he states over here that the pre-beta has expired. I hope you were able to test. I still await your feedback, and then working on the next update, inching towards a stable release. And the new features is going to be this current playing title. So right there you can see now playing, and then a CPU and SoC PM. So right there is the new temperatures. A system uptime is included in probably a lot more. Now, Void Whisper does have a Ko-Fi page. Obviously, like with any of the developers I mentioned here, if you can contribute to them, then you should absolutely do so. But we do see this Shadow Mount pre-beta. Now, he states that this is a test release for the Shadow Mount pre-beta, and that it includes a web server. So you just go to the PS5's IP address and then put in the support number. Now, if you do want to try this, you would have to set your date back or join their Discord, where I'm sure they will give you the bits if you ask nicely. Now, the next update comes to us from EchoStretch, where we see that there has been a Master Core update, and now it supports the PlayStation 4 5.05 all the way up to 13.02. Now, there is a ELF loader, a network game loader, and another network ELF loader that has been released here. And by the way, check his Twitter account, because I think that he had to upload one of these files again. And then there is where the commit is. And if we jump over into the commit, we can just say right here, this is where 13.00 and 13.02 PS4 support was added. Now, do keep in mind that this is EchoStretch's fork of Master Core. So if we look over here, we can see that this branch is 29 commits ahead. And if we go back over to Master Core, the original project here, you can see this one is a little far behind, because with the releases here, it was back in July 22nd, 2023. And yeah, this is supporting some of these older 10.x PS4 firmwares. I think it would probably be a good idea if all of EchoStretch's work here was merged into Macaulay's, where it's all contained, because if you just search for Master Core, you absolutely do not get this repo. Now, the last thing that I'm going to leave you with here today is that there has been major developments in the PlayStation 3 scene, as now we have something called bad WD-SD, and it says here a mod chip for the PlayStation 3 Slim, Super Slim, nor only, and they do call out here, do not use it yet. Now, there is some information here that states that this is a hardware mod chip for the Sony PlayStation 3, and it's abusing a feature called WD-SD serial register inside the XDR RAM. Now, they state that this is patchable by Sony with new hardware, but yes, I agree absolutely with them, because the PlayStation 3 is no longer being made. I avoid calling this mod chip a glitch because XDR RAM itself is working perfectly as intended. Every command we send to it is valid. WD-SD registers are for initialization purposes, but we abuse it to do the benefiting thing for us. Now, they do state here for supported models, it's pretty much all 2500, 3000 Slim models, and then the 4000 Super Slims with the NOR flash. Now, there is a little bit information in here about which mode that you can boot into. Now, there is a long video over on YouTube if you want to check this out and see exactly what the developer did with this. Obviously, they're testing here a PS3 Super Slim, and from here you can see right there they've got Evil Nat, which is a custom firmware that you can use for the PlayStation 3. And yeah, pretty neat stuff. Up there at the top, you've got Webman running as well. Okay, very cool stuff, and right there is where you can install package files and so forth. Okay, so that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Michael